Hey everybody, today I've got APOB returning guest Jared with livenewmexico.com, outdoor blogger, green chili cheeseburger enthusiast, vlogger, and he's fresh off of his Rio Grande canoe trip, which you can check out on his YouTube channel and in the description below. The man's currently writing his first book and collecting vlog content as we speak. We return with bad jokes and the amazing stories of exploring the New Mexico wilderness, finding more native wildlife on his quest to have a cuddle fest with a mountain lion. Still probably the only person I've ever met that will go out of his way to mingle with rattlesnakes. We had a blast the last time that this guy was on, and we know you guys will dig this one too. You can find all of Jared's antics, blogs, videos, and pictures at livenewmexico.com and on Facebook at facebook.com/livenewmexico. Get on there and give that guy a like and a share. And you can find all the pictures we took for this cast on our Facebook page at facebook.com/APOB media. And of course, links to everything we do can be found at perchabirds.com. All right, guys, this one was a fried slice of solid gold. Enjoy, humans. All right, so it looks like we're live again on a Perch of Birds with Mr. Jay Rhodesian.
What's up, guys? Back
So-
again, round number 2.
So we're talking New Mexico, and we're talking being outside, and it looks like this time we got some trinkets here, some actual visual aids on our podcast. So I'm actually on location in the 505 at Mr. Cash's haunt over here, and he's got, it looks like I'm holding onto a feather here. Explain to
Camp
me.
Cash. I'm hoping you can identify that as a feather.
It
It
You know
does
what?
look like you're holding onto a feather because, in
Are you
fact,
sure
it
this
is a
isn't
feather.
This isn't a medieval nickel.
So I got one of the best ones of that sample in my hat right now, my new hiking hat. That's this blue feather. I was out hiking in the Manzanos, Trigo Canyon, one of my favorite canyons to hike. I like to go there at least once every change of season because it's one of those places that's it's different every time you go. When I'm climbing up the spot, that I actually found that right near where we found that cow.
Really?
Remember the dead cow?
Yep.
With the spider?
Yep. But
Me
that-
and you backpacking trip where I brought like a sleeping bag and that was it.
Right.
Because I was like, I'm going to do this without nothing. And
it
I
was
so
a string
hungry.
backpack.
Yeah,
it just
it
had
was
string
terrible.
and like a tarp or something.
That's what I brought. You guys brought all this food and stuff. And I was like, can I borrow some food? Anyway, I was out there hiking, right? And I found like a blue feather and I look around and something beautiful got eaten out there.
Yeah, this is very cool
bright
looking.
blue iridescent feathers just laying around.
It's almost holographic.
Trigo Canyon, just another one of my many adventures in many places around this damn state that I just can't stay inside of. I can't stay inside at. I'm always outside in this state.
Always going to from in to out on the constant move. So since we've last talked to you, you've been doing nothing but practice kind of what you're all about, man, which is your hiking, your blogging. I mean, and that you're taking actual like stories and laying them down that you've done in the past. Anything that you've written about recently that has been since we last talked to you?
So last Friday there was the canoe trip down the Rio Grande. That was a fun adventure. I wrote a little story in there. I took about, I don't know, all day to go 10 miles from Los Lunas to Belen.
On the river.
On the river in my canoe. And today, driving down the river, I'm looking out there, and there's sandbars in spots that there was water last Friday, and I wouldn't have been able to
Less
go
water.
if I would have waited. I wouldn't have been able to make it. It's just it goes down that fast.
Wow.
Like, there's just
Well, February 1st, they start pulling the water for the irrigation ditches. Do you feel like that's what you think it is, or what do you think's causing that?
well, we got no winter this winter. We had almost no snow. There's no snow melt. There's no runoff to fill the river up. So it's all just basically what's coming out of the lakes that they're sending down to Texas and what normally flows through there.
As well as the poop plants. Don't forget about the poop plants.
Yeah, they
from
help feed
upstream.
the carp and the catfish that I love to catch, but won't eat because that's disgusting.
So it took you 10 miles and you got on, so just for sake of trying to add some location to this, it's just south of Albuquerque from Los Lunas to Belen.
From Los Lunas, I got in at the river park there in Los Lunas. My dad dropped me off. We carried the canoe over there. And I got in about 9:30, and I just started paddling. I brought my backpack, some GoPros, stuff like that. I actually got some footage that I'm gonna put on YouTube, and I just have to sit there and edit hours of footage, which is my favorite thing to do. I can take pictures all day and stuff, but editing it is like it's work, and that's the hard part.
dude.
You know, that's
That's
what
all
makes it.
That's all I do is use computers, man. You telling me you don't like it? You don't like being inside? Come on, you're the outdoor man.
How many pictures you edit? How many pictures you fucking edit?
4.
And it's not
The
fun.
number is
it?
4. No,
Even
I
4 is
don't
not fun. 12 isn't fun. I like taking them. Editing them is another thing.
So you're on the river going from Las Lunas to Belen. What did you see for wildlife? What was the...
Oh man,
9:30
the
in
very
the morning.
first thing I saw. Right, so I have a Nikon. I got a Nikon with a nice lens that I use for taking pictures of wildlife, and I wanted to bring it, but I'm worried about it getting wet because it's not waterproof. GoPros
Right.
are waterproof, but a GoPro you can't take a picture
Right.
like of wildlife because wildlife is never that close.
Right. It's not a Nikon. It's a
Yeah.
GoPro. Yeah.
So the first thing, 15 minutes into that canoe ride, I passed right under this beautiful hawk up in a tree.
Wow.
Right under it. And I'm like trying to get my bag going, trying to get this stuff out so I can get a picture of it. By the time I get it out of my bag, I notice my canoe's almost completely sideways and I need to start paddling. So I go to put the lens together. I start paddling. I'm getting it wet. You know, I just didn't get a lot of shots with that camera. I got a few. I've got some geese. I saw a bald eagle out there.
Yeah.
Saw at least one bald eagle. I saw a couple times. I saw probably the same bald eagle.
I mean, so how close are these guys above you?
The bald eagle it wasn't super close. He got scared. He got spooked before I got too close to him, so he took off flying. The hawk was one of the only hawks that I saw on this trip that I went right under. It didn't move. It didn't it was like, yeah, screw you, whatever. I saw a porcupine up in a tree. Like I went right by
you
a
put a picture up,
porcupine.
didn't you?
Everywhere up and down the river, you see where they're eating the bark. You see these like clean white strips of bark in these really dark trees.
Yeah.
And that's porcupines eating the bark. I saw one porcupine, and every time I got too close to the shore, or I had to get too close because the water was deeper on that spot, and I got hit by the salt cedar cutting me. I just I really enjoy the porcupine because it eats those trees. I really wish there was more out there eating those
An
trees.
invasive species eating an invasive species.
I'm not sure the porcupine is an invasive species.
That's a good question.
I'm pretty sure it's a native of New Mexico, the porcupine.
porcupine.
I saw a ton of
settler.
sandhill crane. I saw duck, every kind of duck you can imagine. I seen a duck on the side of the river, and I go paddle towards it, and I'm like, this duck's not scared of me. This duck's not going anywhere. And I get closer, and I realize it's a fake decoy.
Yeah,
duck.
right.
I
telling
ended
me
up
this.
with 12 decoy ducks that were tied up in trees. They were stuck on those metal erosion control barriers in there. So by the time I was done with the canoe trip, I ended up with 12 ducks in my canoe with me.
That's a good haul,
Fake
man.
ducks.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's got to be some hunters out there that are pretty pissed.
I
man.
talked to some dudes at
shit,
work,
I
and
wish I
they're
could
like,
get
if
that many
you're,
ducks.
well, you know what? And it wasn't like I went to this one spot where there was a bunch of ducks and I just picked them up, right? It wasn't like somebody's duck hunting area. Throughout the whole 10 miles, there was this spot with ducks. There was that spot with ducks. They were all over the place over there. So it wasn't like I was just, finding one guy's spot.
Right. Now, were they different? I mean, does it look like these were done over different time? That's interesting. I wonder
there's
how
some
much
older
duck
ones.
hunting happens in a 10-mile stretch.
I'm sure that they hunt every year. I'm sure that they hunt every year, and it's 10 miles, right? So I'm thinking, what if I go from Belen to Socorro? Well, that's a lot more than 10 miles. Belen to Highway 60. How many am I going to find in there?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I could make a living out of doing this.
How many
just
dead
finding
bodies
ducks.
you'll find?
I think about that a lot when I'm outside in the woods. I honestly think I'm surprised in the state of New Mexico I haven't found dead bodies. There's places that I drive by that they have found bodies. There was a kid who they found under a mattress out there in the mesa. Right there, right?
Yep.
And I drive out there all the time. Like, how many other bodies are out there? It's something I think about, though.
There was
funny you mentioned that.
so when I worked for the ditch crew for the state, they would tell me, some of the guys that had been there for a while, they would tell me about bodies, and particularly an area that I had taken over. They said that this was an area because it would like spit out to the river where you'd find them, but I never found a body of a human. But I found a lot of goats and dogs.
It is. You find, dude. I found
cows.
ostriches. I've found horses, goats, cows. You name it. You find the weirdest animals in the mesa that people just dump. I don't know what you do with an ostrich body, but if somebody dumped one out there, or an emu or something like that. It was a big bird.
Do you get like in trouble? They find the brand on the ostrich's ass or something.
I don't know.
Because like with a cow, right, or a bull,
Do they
if go and,
chastise you?
I'm gonna slap you on the wrist a lot.
Sir, you could have made a large feather bed with this. How dare you throw it away?
There could have been a long pecking order. No,
I'm
did I use
I
it
don't
wrong?
know. No,
Didn't
yeah.
go right. I
We're,
don't know. I was trying to come up with something.
pecking
that
order.
was-
I get
did
it.
you get it?
It was
Pecking?
punny.
No.
It was punny at the same time. I think maybe
Wah,
it
wah,
lost the flight
wah.
of the conversation there for sure.
So okay,
Flightless,
so
indeed.
so we go out there and you haven't gotten like anywhere where you're stuck when you're on the river, right? Like you've only
Yeah.
gotten
Oh yeah.
yeah. So you had to
I
carry
hit
this
some
sumbitch?
sandbars. No, I didn't have to carry it. But what? So the gondolas in Paris. You know the guy. You see him like singing, and there's a couple in the front of the boat, and he's pushing it with a stick.
Hold on, I thought that was Italy, isn't that
Italy. Yeah.
Venice?
Venice, Italy. Paris, Venice, Italy.
Rome?
There's a restaurant in Venice, Italy called Paris's, and they actually have those there. I don't know. All right, somewhere in Europe. Those
So the
guys.
guy that you see
Anyway,
pushing, I get it.
To
I get
rail
it.
the story
I was trying to.
back on course, the guy with the stick in the
You're
boat.
the guy with
that
the stick
was
in the
me.
boat. I get it. All right.
And I'm like shimmying back and forth, trying to get it out of the sand because it was like there's water, but it's shallow in some points.
Yeah, yeah.
The river kind of meanders at an S bend. So
Sure.
if you don't follow that S bend and you try and go straight through it, you'll hit the sandbars. Dude, I swear, if I did that every day for 6 months, I would be bigger than like some of the dudes who go to the gym all the time. I was so sore
Right.
getting out and like putting the paddle in the sand and pushing off and
Right.
moving 4 freaking inches and doing
Right.
it again and again until I got into the deeper water.
That's like Castaway, man. You probably end up turning into a piece of muscle, bro. Just straight one thing, like overnight, just doing that 6 months straight.
I don't know about overnight because I did it over day, but you know it's there now, ripped and shredded all day. So that trip, it was cool. You know, to end the trip, I went and got out behind Allsups in Belen, New Mexico, which is 10 miles south of Los Angeles, like we've already said. I get out back there and it's a frequented spot by people. There's a lot of fishing and stuff going on there. So I get out and there's some people fishing there, and I'm waiting for my dad to come get me because obviously I didn't, drive down there. There was a chicken in the bosque that I tried catching when I got out there. It was just like I'm sitting there in my canoe waiting for my dad to get there, and this chicken like pops out of the bosque and it's like, and it looks at me, and I'm like, what? And I'm talking bosque. It's not somebody's backyard. It's
Yeah.
not this. It's
an
it's
escaped chicken. You know it is.
So I try to catch
Chicken
it,
on the
and I'm
run.
like looking for it, and I go, and the damn chicken ends up hiding in the tree
Little
somewhere.
troublemaker
I couldn't find it.
chicken,
Yeah,
man.
damn chicken in the bosque over there. So you never know what you're gonna find. I could have ended up that trip with a bunch of decoy ducks and a live chicken. That sounds like a joke, but it's the damn truth. You
can
never
write
know what
that
you're gonna
shit.
find in this state, man.
You can
Never
write
know
that
what you're
shit.
gonna find.
All right. So let's talk about these artifacts that I have in front of me here. So I'm looking at a
Oh,
table full of stuff. Let's
take
talk
your
about this
pick.
area. We're in the Las Lunas Belen area. Where have you found something in that area? And if you haven't, take me up to the mountains next to this.
Right here.
Okay.
That is a piece of pottery from out there in the Rio Puerco. It's everywhere out there. Everywhere you go, you find little pieces of pottery. I don't collect a lot of it. That's an older piece, but
This is really cool.
arrowheads found out there, stuff like that. I found a freaking porcupine out there one time. I was out there with my kid's mom's dog. Me and my kid's mom's dog were out there hiking. Not like a person, like it was with my kid's mom's dog. And we were out there hiking.
Could have been like a bad nickname. You just really don't like that person.
I see this thing in this like cutout of the river. So like the river flows in its channel, right? And there's these big areas where it's kind of like if the river was fuller, it would fill up, but it's not full. And there's no
Sure.
trees or anything in
Sure.
there. They're really close to the river, but in that area, it's open. There's something in the middle moving around. And I thought for sure it was a mountain lion because it had this like tawny color.
Okay.
I start walking over there, and all of a sudden, the dog Taz starts barking, and that thing turns, and it's a freaking porcupine. And I'm in between them, trying to keep the dog from like lunging at this giant porcupine that was twice his size.
Oh shit.
And I'm like trying to get him to move back and forth, and then like I this is way before I had my camera. This was years and years and years ago. But I'm trying to like just experience being around this porcupine while at the same time
Right, keep
not
the
letting
dog
the
at bay.
dog attacking
Right.
it, and the porcupine's backing up at me like aggressively.
Did they? Because they move the quills, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
I mean, yeah, like it seems like it shrugs its shoulders and they get bigger and it just backs up at you. And I wasn't trying to piss it off and I wasn't trying
Yeah.
to get fucking hit with no quills. So
Right.
I got out of there, but it was a really interesting experience. But that's in that area I find, and they say you can find shark teeth out there.
So
you find fossils all over the
So
place.
what I'm
around
looking
here.
at right now is it looks like a piece of pottery, and if this would be all legit, I mean this This looks like this is some old
I'm not sure what culture,
artifact
what
stuff. Yeah, it looks like a mountain almost, maybe, and then but it's just a small little piece. I took a picture of it. I'll put it on our blog for sure.
I'll have to get you the one that I have I found that has like a bear on it. There's one that has like a bear. It's really cool. There's some really interesting artwork that they have on that stuff out there. It's all over out there, and we leave it mostly. This piece has some really cool painting on it. So
yeah, well, that looks very defined. Like that looks
sure
very.
I'm not supposed to pick it up.
Well, let's just say that for the record, it was picked up in a place you can, right? Who knows? So then this stuff that I've got in my hands here, these shells, you got these east of Las Unas Balloon
Actually,
area.
the smaller one I found in the same spot I found the pottery. I don't know what kind of fossil it is, but they're like fossilized seashells. The other one that's almost the size of a baseball, me and you found on a backpacking trip that we took up to somewhere near the top of the Manzanos. I can't remember what that trail's called, but we took it on that trail. Then we went up to this lookout where you're probably a good 600 feet below the summit of the mountains, but it's a real nice kind of open.
It's like a legit Lord of the Rings looking.
Yeah,
spot.
It's got those big
like
ponderosa pines,
yeah.
real big ponderosa pines, and like you can see the city, and you can see the stars.
Right.
And we had that
Big flat
campfire
area.
and stuff. And we go to walk down the mountain, and I'm like, "What's that?" And I look down, and we start. Remember, we went back and we found tons.
You know
of
what's crazy about that, though, is if you
and
go to
they're
the Natural
seashells.
History Museum, they talk about how these are, through so many different episodes, we've had the water, come up and over these mountains that are literally 10,000 feet is where the top of the Manzanos sit. So if they've gone up that high, because, hell, we were at least in the mountains, you know what I mean? Whereas you don't have any water now, you know.
Yeah, dude. This is a seashell, and it was on the top.
Yeah, well, that's what
of
I'm
the
saying.
mountain,
Like, so
right?
how many millions of years old does this have to be in order to go back to that time when we had water?
The Earth was
through
flat,
different-
right? So this is eroded from the flatness of the
Took a left turn. Hey, man. Oh, okay. So we can bring that up right now. I was loving it. The internet spoke volumes today, right? So I'm watching the SpaceX Heavy Rocket Falcon, or the
with
Heavy
the Tesla
Falcon
car in it,
dude.
man.
Yes, and
What a time we live in.
So I work in IT. Come back to it. The guy that I'm on the phone with, I'm doing like a Skype conversation trying to fix something, right? The dude that I'm talking to is in Florida, where they're launching this rocket. Lilo, Florida. And down there where spiders at. Well, the dude actually goes off of the call. He's like, hey, hold on a minute. They're about ready to launch the rocket. So he like pauses and goes outside and watches the rocket launch, dude. And so like right as he's doing that, me and the other dude are like, okay. And the other guy's waiting in this airport at, like bound to go somewhere. So he's like, okay, we have no choice. This is like the guy that we're on the meeting with. So I pull it up and I watch it on YouTube, bro. And it was interesting because I think that's the first time I've ever actually watched one of those launches completely live. Like even when they had the shuttles, I never saw them live. And what's horrible is like, even in this day and age, like you're just waiting for something bad to happen. You're like, oh man,
That's a
I don't
terrible.
know if I want to watch this right now because they can't reverse that. When it's live, like that's right there. And
There's
it
nobody
happens.
on those.
Right. No, and I totally get that. No,
You
I totally
wanted
get
to
that.
explode.
I don't want
Dude,
to. I didn't
what
want
is
to
it-
will
what
it
is
to do
it,
anything, but you get
Heavy
that,
metal.
oh.
The heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
Where the guys in the Corvette or whatever in the
Right.
sky. And
Yeah, that's
that
right.
is exactly what they sent into space.
That's so
did,
awesome.
Did it launch from the front of the shuttle, or is it going to come back, or is it just going to float around space forever?
I don't know.
Right?
I want to say that it would have to come back because I don't think they went into the higher orbit. The lower orbit usually pulls you back in and then shit burns up. Like that usually nothing stays out. Like you'd have to continually burn to stay out of the
That's so wrong. I want to imagine this guy floating through space
Forever.
forever, right?
Forever.
I just want to imagine like eventually getting into
What if
some,
they tried to
right? 'Cause
send
what's
him
it
to
gonna do?
Mars,
It's
though?
not
I don't-
gonna,
we
is it
should
gonna
know
freeze
this.
and like does it decay?
I think it says, what did it say? It said on the screen, on the Tesla, it said, don't panic.
That's awesome. Elon Musk is a modern day like supervillain, but he's against no one. You know what I mean?
watched.
Like, he's
I watched Now This or whatever those damn things are today, and of course it popped up today because his damn SpaceX thing worked out, right? But I'm watching it today, and he had like a surgery because they thought he was deaf, but he actually was not deaf. It was an unneeded surgery, and apparently
yeah, no,
he
I
would
can
just
hear you.
daydream a
No,
lot.
sir, we think you're deaf. No, I can hear you.
No, I don't want to
but
listen to my mom.
I think
she
you're
bugs
deaf.
the.
But I can hear you. That's because you're deaf, sir. Thank you. Yeah, you're deaf. We understand that you're deaf. How do they think you're deaf? Like,
Let me ask you a question. Are you deaf? Just be honest.
yes, I
Yeah,
am.
can you mark
But-
the box, sir? This
you're
is
deaf.
confusing to me.
Yeah, dude, we live in a crazy time right now. Like, world of technology. We're sitting here with how old are these fossils? With
Show me the
Well,
bubble.
we
the
got a
bubble
GoPro.
metal. Show me the bubble metal. Where's that at?
we got a GoPro here, and we got computers, laptops, and stuff, and then we have this ancient pottery and
So
paw print of a coyote in some mud.
So this is
I
one
don't
of
know what that is, Doug. I don't
this
know
is
what
one
that
of two
is.
things. I'm gonna take another picture of this. It looks like either somebody was doing some ancient welding, or
I don't know where I found that either, but I found that somewhere in New Mexico. I found that
It is
it's probably out in the mesa somewhere.
so it almost looks like fused together rabbit shit. If you've ever seen like little pellets of rabbit shit, right?
Yeah.
But when you really pick it up and you look at it, once you examine it, it's actually a piece of metal, and it's very odd how it's formed. I'm just going to
Could have been volcanic.
I'll conclude for you. It's space metal,
Right? If you would have
made of titanium,
So-
kryptonium.
If you've seen on my site, I put out that fascinating facts about New Mexico that a lot of people probably don't know. One of them is that New Mexico
What is your site again?
livenewmexico.com. That's
Where?
LIVE, newmexico.com. Sponsored by Axe Body Spray. Douches. Douche. Yeah, douche. No.
Duracell.
So, yeah, like New Mexico is currently very volcanic. All right? Does that make sense? Very volcanic. There's a lot of dormant volcanoes.
We're not talking about the people like a rebellion. We're talking about like the actual volcanoes.
No, the Volcanics. Yeah, it was a band group, and they have their fans, the Volcanics. Yeah, they work on volcanoes.
Well
They're
done.
Volcanics.
Yeah,
My
for you.
volcano's broken. Call a
Bring that
volcanic. You can come fix it. Make sure you get a good one. He don't overcharge you, because everybody's from Brooklyn.
All my
and does
balls-
things like this. That's
All my
why
balls
I
are broken. I
Go
need some canics, some volcanics.
Got to
to come
change
and
the
fix my
accent for no reason. Okay.
It just came out.
So stuff like that could have came from a volcano. I don't know what the hell it is, dude. It's a cool rock. It like this weird rock that looks kind of like I don't know. What would you say that rock looks like there?
We were going for phallus shaped.
Yeah, very
like how it was
phallic.
a neutral.
It's a very
neutral way
odd
to put
rock,
that.
right?
It's very. I got to take another picture of this. I'm just gonna have a slew of pictures.
You,
We're rebuilding
you
our
could
website.
Take pictures after.
Don't
right?
talk
'Cause
about.
they're not going to
don't
go
talk-
anywhere.
It doesn't
after
it feel
the
more
podcast.
authentic when it's done right now, though? Like, don't you feel like this?
Screw
is
bean
more
mesquite.
authentic?
Found these on the Bosky.
Oh man, that
Screw
looks
bean
like a
mesquite. My
bug.
kid says, "Is that a spider in the car?" When he sees it, but it's just screw bean mesquite.
gonna
So
Hold on.
I've been
Slow
all
down.
over the
Let's go
place,
back
man.
to the
I've been all
phallus,
over the
man. Where
place.
did you find the phallus? At?
That was again in the Rio Puerco.
And the Rio Puerco is where? That's like south of Las Vegas.
The Rio Puerco is west of the Rio Grande, and it flows kind of perpendicular to it. Perpendicular.
But where? The Rio Grande is an awful long river. Talk to me.
Right. So somewhere starting a little bit north of Albuquerque, flowing south, and it flows into the Rio Grande south of Belen, right after Highway 60.
This is the one where the bridge is, like way down there, where you have the picture of the bridge, right? Isn't that the okay?
That's that same river. Yeah, it flows right into the Rio Grande.
This
Yeah,
guy's got
it's
an
just-
amazing shot of the bridge that goes over that Rio Puerco, way down south in. I don't know where the fuck it's at. It's south of
It's
Belen.
just where I-25 and Highway 60 meet down there.
Yeah, but that picture is awesome. I mean, that bridge is awesome, and I've only seen it run once. But yeah,
Yeah, I have that picture. I focus more on like the animals and stuff like that. That's an outside picture, so you know what I mean. Like I just took it. It just came out as a good picture, right? But
good
I don't think I put it. I
Good
don't know
eye,
if I
bro.
put it on my site because it was just a bridge.
I
It
thought
was
you did.
You know what I mean?
Well, if not, I have one.
Possible.
So.
Well, it's on my Facebook, which you can find at Jared Cash at Facebook something. I don't know how you get there, but I'm on Facebook. So yeah, back to man, the things that I've been into. Dude, the freaking crystal that I got out of the mountains, the 100-pound crystal that I had to use a wheelbarrow to get out. I had to take the barrel part off the wheelbarrow and use the
But
frame
that
with
wasn't
the
your
wheel.
first attempt to bring it down either, right? Like
It
wasn't there?
It wasn't necessarily that I tried to bring it down. It was really heavy when I found it. It was really heavy when I found it, and I didn't know how to get it out, but I knew where it was. But no, I really didn't try. Yeah, so I found this huge crystal in the mountains. Me and my son were hiking one time, and
Manzano Mountains again.
we're in the Manzanos, which
Okay.
thank you for that secret. And I found this giant crystal, and I wanted to get it out. I don't want to sell it. I don't, there's no law against collecting rocks as long as you're not selling them or doing it
Well,
for
and I'm sure
commercial
you're not mining
reasons.
them. You're just picking
and
them
it was
up
just
off
laying
the
there.
ground. Yeah,
It was just
yeah.
laying there. Way back off a trail. It was not on a trail, like off of no trail in the middle of nowhere out there. We found this giant crystal, me and my son, and I kept thinking about how to get it out. And I was like, well, I could carry it. I could have two people go with me, and we could use two poles and carry it. But the freaking thing was so heavy. I ended up figuring out a year later using a wheelbarrow and taking the barrow thing off the wheelbarrow and ratchet strapping that rock to the wheelbarrow and just carrying it over logs, up hills, down hills. One of the most exhausting things I've ever done in my life. When you walk in my front door, it's sitting right there now. At this point, it's sitting right there in my front door. And I'm sure you could take a picture and put it on the site to show people. Again, I'm not doing this to pillage the land and sell this stuff like that. To me, it was this really, really awesome crystal that I'm going to end up turning into like a display piece, which is, part of my education of the things that are in New Mexico, the types of things you can find, the types of things you can see if you go outside and go explore. There's so much stuff out there that a lot of people just need to get out there and go check it out. You know what I'm saying?
Get up and get out.
Go outside and see what there is, man.
Yeah, so I think that I fully support the idea of of only taking when it's something that's not like you're having to dig or tear. Like there's those people that went into something up in, I think it was Utah or something like that, and they knocked over like a really big,
it was a Boy Scout troop leader that did that.
Right, knocked over.
Way to show your kids what to do when they're outside, like the right way to be.
But it's something that was not. It wasn't small potatoes, man. Like that was kind of an iconic spot. I think that's been standing for so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of years.
Any one of those rocks that you find like that, like
precariously balanced.
I'm not a tree hugger per se. I love
nature.
A tree hugger. I love outside.
Swear to God damn it, Bobby, I'm not a tree hugger.
But I don't see the senseless destruction of shit like that. It just doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah.
My kids are never going to see this stuff if we just keep ruining everything there is.
Right. Well, and I've been out with you before, and we found some spots where there's crystals just littered all over the ground, and I really think that as long as you're not going out of your way to try to like make a mess, you can grab a couple. And what we end up doing is we end up teaching the kids about it, and it, now it's like, well, why do we want to go? Why do we want to go hiking? There's no question. Like, hey, can we go back to that spot where the crystals are? It's just the same. I think is like a national treasure that you can't take with you, like Carlsbad Caverns, right? Like you go into a place like that, and there's almost no question as to why the kids want to go in there. It's for the
and then you get back down there soon too, man. That'd be a good trip.
Yeah, man,
good trip.
So Carlsbad Caverns is one of the deepest caves that you can walk into in the world, as far as I know. I know that there are deeper. But in terms of one that's got the
accessibility and stuff,
yeah,
right?
It's like one or two in the world.
It's very accessible. There's an elevator in there,
Yeah, you can straight drop, and I'm not going to make any numbers, but I know it's at least a mile, if not further. Which a mile we got to think is 5,500 feet, something like that.
It's pretty far down there. I haven't been there since I was a kid.
Yeah, same here. But I remember it being just every experience you could want in the world, like where it's real dark and bats and shit.
And you know what? Here's that. Look, you got Carlsbad Caverns. You got White Sands. You got the Via Caldera, the volcano in the Jemez Mountains.
Okay.
You got the Soda Dam, the hot springs out there.
Sure.
You got El Malpais, the lava flows. You got places like Blue Hole, the numerous lakes that are across the state. I mean, it's just, dude, there's so much stuff to do in this state. Every time I hear somebody like, "Oh, New Mexico sucks," I just don't get it. I don't know what, because you went to what, Albuquerque?
Exactly, and
they stole
I've
your
been
tires
here my whole life, and I honestly haven't pricked the amount of the balloon of shit that you could possibly go and see.
So many things to do out here.
So I remember, I think it was you saying that you can drive 2 hours in any direction and find something to do in New Mexico. Really, you can.
Probably like 50 minutes. And I mean, I know spots. Of course, I explore every day.
Right up the road from my house, there's a good spot.
I explore every day, so I know like local spots everywhere. But you can go anywhere and find some spots. You can go down here to the river and walk around. And I've seen the bobcat. Like that was one of the most exciting, like magical, things.
Yeah,
I've
man.
done,
and if you guys haven't checked it out already, he's got these awesome pictures of this bobcat family that he ran into. But that was on the river,
yeah.
Right?
We talked about it last time too.
Yeah.
It's on my site too. That's one of my. I think I called it fishing for bobcats because I was actually trying to scout a cat fishing hole. But it was cool. I ran into some deer, the Bosque del Apache. That place was awesome, man. Last time I went down there, dude. First thing I saw was 2 bald eagles perched on a tree, right? And you don't see a lot of bald eagles in New Mexico.
Did you say what's up?
I said America, and literally one looked at me and gave me the thumbs up. I didn't know they had thumbs, bro. I didn't know they had thumbs. Popped that shit out. I was like, yeah.
American flag jumps off the thumb.
Bunch of ducks everywhere, hawks everywhere, driving around. So I drive to the back, and I park, and I go walk around this trail they have in the very back there, and it's a loop. I walk up on a freaking family of deer, right? I walk up, and I have this instinct now of picking my camera up when I see something because the first thing everything does is run away or hide.
Of course.
So I pick my camera up and I start flacking.
You start flacking?
Flacking. I started flacking. I fracked and I got some oil. I started like flashing off pictures. Boom, boom, boom. Taking pictures of this deer, and I'm like, it's not moving. Why is it? So I get closer. I'm like always holding my camera there. I'm looking through the lens of my camera as I walk towards it because I just assume it's going to run away.
Yeah.
Then I see 2 more deer show up. Then I'm like, what the? Taking
gonna
pictures,
jump you.
taking pictures, right? Taking more pictures. And then a buck shows up, and I'm sitting there with this family. I don't think I sat down. I stood with this family for probably 30 minutes, and I call it a family, like they have like these, family
Wife.
ties, and the
Don't
wife
get
and
any
kids.
closer.
Don't get near that man, honey. He might hurt you. Kids,
I have
here,
a bigger,
some good nibble.
bigger Johnson than him.
So I'm taking pictures
look
of all
over
these deer, and I'm just like standing there, and they're not moving, they're not afraid of me. I keep walking, like I'm not standing there in one spot. I'm just kind of walking really slow along the trail. I'm like, "What's up, guys?" Talking to them. They don't care. They're not going to talk back to me.
Yeah.
I know they can, but they don't want to. So they follow me.
Just
I got
hold 'em
some
out.
really good pictures of that, and actually some of them ended up on my site. Like the buck, he's standing there all majestic or whatever, and then he like trips on a stick. It's just-
And they were just standing there eating, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
they were just and it's a wildlife refuge, so
Okay.
nobody's hunting in there. So
Sure.
there's no pressure. right?
Gunshots, the whole bit. Sure, they don't hear that too often. Not there.
I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. So I walk around that trail. I see some more stuff. I go back around the trail, and that buck is in. He had walked to the other side of the loop, and when he sees me, he takes off running. Like, what the hell is this? I've never seen it before. I literally saw it like 30 minutes ago, and he ran away from me this time. But whatever. I'm not gonna judge him. I don't know
He
his
is
life.
real. Thought it was those mushrooms I ate.
I get back in my Jeep, and I'm walking over there. Well, I'm getting back in my Jeep, and this older couple's getting out of their car, and I'm like, hey, guys, if you walk down this area, you'll see some deer and stuff like that. Trying
Yeah.
to tell them about what I saw, and they're like, oh yeah, we just saw some coyotes. We saw these collared peccary or the javelina.
Okay.
And I'm like, what? I want to go see them,
What
and they
is
told
that?
me where it's
What
at.
is that? Explain that.
It's a
Javelina.
pig. It's a wild pig. It's a
Okay.
native wild pig. It's not like those boars that are out destroying everything. It's
Okay.
a native wild pig, and it's got this like whitish band around its body where its neck would be.
Okay.
Where we would presume its neck would be. I mean, I'm sure, atomically that's where its neck is, but it's, a pig. I don't know where they're, whatever. It's got this band around it, so it's called a collared peccary. It looks like it has a collar.
Huh.
It's like a pig. So I'm like, where is this at? And the guy tells me, and so I'm driving around, I'm looking, I see hawks, I see a golden eagle, huge
Wow.
golden eagle. I'm still driving around looking at all these spots, and I see them down this one road, and the sign says, do not enter. You can't go down there.
Yeah.
I just see two little black dots, and I'm like, man, I missed them, I keep going around some more. There's another walking trail, and I can't remember the guy's name, but it talks about one of the conservationists that's down there. I think it's White, but I'm not sure, or Whites or something like that. But it talks about one of the conservationists that work with Bosque del Apache helping make it what it is. And there's a bunch of sandhill cranes out there. I see another bald eagle. I see Canadian geese. I mean, just the Bosque del Apache
Had you
is
been
an
there before?
amazing. I went there a long time ago with my kid's mom, and we just drove around it. We're like, it was.
But did you see the
Didn't pay
same kind of
attention.
wildlife, or do you feel like you saw more?
I
Was it
think-
just maybe the timing or something?
I think maybe I didn't pay attention as much when I was a kid, right? I have a camera now, so everything I see, I want to take a picture of
Sure.
it. So I look for more stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely,
So
yeah.
I notice things now,
Well, and you look for a shot, you're like, that would make a damn good picture.
right? And I noticed that no matter what I see, my first instinct is to grab for my camera. So, a mountain lion's about to attack me. It's going to eat me. I'm going to better take a picture before it does.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, the infamous pictures of the guy that was the last guy hiking Mount St. Helens, right? Have you ever seen
Oh,
those?
and the volcano got him, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I want to say it was the year I was born, 88. That's the javelina. Okay. See, and I've heard that name before. He has it on the back of his phone. He's showing me, or not on the back, but on the background of his phone. Is the javelina. It's an interesting. I didn't know that's what it looked like, though. I guess I've never seen one
Yeah,
in real
dude.
life. That's a picture you took as well?
Yeah. So
Damn, man.
so I went into that one trail, the other trail that I
Okay.
walked, and saw the eagles and whatever. I get back in my Jeep and I'm driving around again, and they must have come out of that road and got on one of the other roads.
Okay.
But I drive and they're right there on the road. I had to pass them. Like I went real slow and I passed them, and they went and hid in the bushes.
Yeah.
But I noticed right through the bushes there's like a creek, and they went up to it and they didn't go in the water. They didn't want to.
Yeah.
So I drive down the road a little bit and I stop and I get out of my Jeep and I get down there and I sit on the ground. I have my camera out and I hear rustling. I hear rustling in the thing. And all
You're
of
like
a sudden,
setting it up like a African
All of a
continent
sudden,
safari kind of photographer, man. I like that.
the
That's cool.
the javelina pop up and they start walking over the berm to get up on the road, and one walks up and it sees me sitting there and maybe 10 feet away, and it sees me sitting there and it like looks at me for a second and then click, 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 my pictures, click, 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 and it doesn't like that. So it turns around and goes to leave, and the other one comes up behind it and he goes, "Urgh." It makes like a weird noise.
Uh-oh.
And he picks up his leg and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's going to charge me. Like he's not going to have this. And he looks at me and he's like, nah, and he takes off. He didn't want
Don't
he
look
didn't
at
want
my
the trouble. Yeah. So I got pictures of those, man. And I went out there and just, and you know what? This was all in the south end of the south loop I didn't even go to the North Loop. I was really hungry. So I went down to, I had to leave. I was starving. I didn't bring enough food with me like an idiot. Like I go out there and just on a whim, and I didn't bring everything I needed.
Didn't bring your calorie balls.
There is 2 restaurants down there in San Antonio, New Mexico, which is a little bit north of Bosque del Apache, and they have really, really good green chili cheeseburgers. Man, they're really good.
What's
the Owl Cafe.
Okay.
And God, I think the other one was the Buckhorn.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was the Buckhorn. That's where it was really good. But so if you're down there, go check those restaurants out. Even the visitor center at Bosque del Apache is awesome, dude. It's got a lot of interactive stuff. And I went in there and asked them about mountain lions because I'm going to regret saying this. I'm going to be the guy who was like, I want to see a mountain lion. I'm going to get eaten by one because I'm always out there in the woods.
Mount St. Helens, bro. Last guy I took pictures.
I want to get some, I just want to get a picture of a mountain lion. I've never seen a full mountain lion
in the wild.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I went and asked
those are mountain lions that we have at the zoo, right? Those are straight
those 2
up,
pumas.
the ones that
huge.
climb, they kind of walk over you. Yeah, okay. Okay, just making sure I got the right one in mind.
So I want one. And, I want to see one in the wild, but on my terms, not his.
Yeah.
Not his.
Not on a sneaky ass terms.
On my terms. Sorry, all the beeping in here. It's crazy. So there was that. I went down there. I've been hiking like so much. I just decided that I made a decision one day that, this is what I want to do. I'm going to go do it. There's not going to be excuses anymore. I'm not going to be like, I'm tired or lazy. I want to sit at home. I want to play video. I just go out and I just freaking explore. I bought a ghillie suit, right? So I can get all
you're showing
disguised and go sit there in the woods and take pictures of stuff,
Yeah. Is it working out, though? Have you had more success with
the stickers? It's working out for
so you attract
stickers.
That's good.
Like crazy.
Do you sell them on eBay?
You know what? That's
do you grade them like better quality?
Coming
stickers?
soon, bags of stickers from the Rio Grande, $13.95.
That's Great British Pounds.
Blue Rock,
Blue
Rock stickers. Heisenberg. I'm going to name them. They're out there, guys. So another thing I put in for this year, I finally put in for some hunts. I put in one time before. I didn't put in last year because there was some stuff going on. But
so what entails putting in for a hunt? You hear these things. I'm a layman. Explain to me what do you do?
For me too. Like I had only put in for a hunt one time before this, so I decided that I want to hunt this year. And before we get into how you put in for a hunt, I want to clarify this because I feel like people are so for or against hunting.
Okay.
Why do you want to go out there and kill an animal? And again. What do? I love animals. I love being out there taking pictures. I love wildlife. But I also understand that with the amount of people we have, populations growing, there are so many less predators than there are prey that the prey cannot sustain themselves without a predator there. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely
So a
does.
deer will overpopulate an area and they will all starve to death if there are too many deer in an area. So people whose jobs, wildlife biologists, their jobs are to understand this.
Right.
They go out there and they say, to maintain a healthy deer species, because they too love these animals, we need to eliminate some of the deer so that they don't eat themselves out, they don't get diseases, they don't overpopulate, cause traffic accidents and stuff like that. That's why we hunt them, Maybe not why, but that's the reason we're allowed to hunt them.
Sure. Well, because the idea is that, let's say we had 1,000 deer, right? You're going to maybe pull for maybe 100 of those. Is that kind of how the system works?
Yeah. And
maybe 50 of them,
You're
going
to pull tags for 100 of them.
Okay.
Maybe 70% success rate.
And this is how it works in most places then, like not just the state of New Mexico, more likely than not. I mean, it's something similar. Like
actually, in a lot of states, you go to the store and I want to buy a tag because they have so many deer that they're overpopulated. You could just buy a tag and get 4 deer.
I've heard the Joe Rogan podcast. They talk about that up there in Idaho quite a bit, and then places where they're way up north and they've got these big surpluses of.
You don't have to draw.
Right, you could just go out and bag 4.
Some places, I'm not sure. I know back east they don't. Like my buddy Justin, he would go hunting and they would go to the store and be like, buy a tag. They'd go hunt. They get the meat. They eat it. It's really good meat. It's
That's
not
cool.
hormones.
Yeah.
It's not store raised. You don't have to worry about stuff like that. So what I decided is I was going to hunt. I wanted to put in for deer.
Okay.
I wanted to put in for pronghorn, and I wanted to put in for elk, and I'm hoping I get at least one of those hunts.
Okay.
I'm going to need a big freezer if I get all 3, and I get to hunt these animals, right? My buddy that I went hunting with, the only time I've ever gone hunting was hunting in northern New Mexico up by the border of Colorado. He went for elk. We didn't get one that year, but I put in on his application, and he got drawn, and I didn't. So
you can actually you can have somebody get tied into.
you can put in the same application. So I put in my application, and you can come right behind me and say, I want to put in on the same application that you put in on.
It's like a number.
And they put your numbers together, so you're more likely to get drawn in the same area.
Sure.
So you can go hunt with me. Like if you want to
Okay,
hunt
I'm
in
going
the
to do
same
it,
area.
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put in for the
I bequeath
Manzanos.
it. I will do it. I will go and I'll put in the hunt.
I put in for a bow hunt in the Manzanos.
Fuck it.
And I'm sitting right there. You see my brand new recurve? Not brand new, but that's new to
Oh,
me.
I hadn't even looked over there, bro.
Yep,
That's nice.
That's my Bear Kodiak recurve. Actually, I believe it's the Magnum. It's the shorter one. It's stubby. But it's a really nice bow.
Hold on, he's going to bring it over here.
And I put it way too far away. It's fun to pull back too. That thing's 55 pounds, so it's a nice little bow.
This is fucking sweet.
I've been shooting bows.
Gainesville, Florida.
I've been shooting compound
Spider
bows
down
for
there
a
by
long
you,
time.
brother.
I shoot a recurve when I do like my carp bow hunting and stuff, but that's gonna hopefully that's the Super Magnum. I'm sorry, it wasn't the Kodiak. That's the Bear Archery Super Magnum.
So what do these numbers mean to me?
55-pound draw weight. That's what that is. It's a 48-inch bow.
That's a fucking sweet bow. You know what it looks like? It's an Elvish.
It is
bow
a
or
little
something.
dirty. It is a little like.
I'm gonna take a picture with this one.
Again, you can do all this after. You know,
I don't want to
right
hear
now, but
any of your mouthy mouth.
So I put in, man, and like I said, you know, it's also I love being out there. I love exploring, seeing stuff like this. Seeing, you know, I want to see the elk. I want to go out there with my camera just as much as I want to go out there and take one so I can eat it, right? I want to just see the families and like the way they interact with each other and stuff like that too. Like it's not all about killing. It's not all about being out there to hurt something.
Is it easier to hunt with the bow or it's harder to hunt with the bow?
I would say it's probably like 10 times harder to hunt with a bow. Your range is so much closer. You have to be right there, you know? I didn't put in like the elk and the pronghorn, I believe I put in rifle. But I put in bow for the deer in the Manzanos here.
So is there more success rate to putting in for one over the other?
I'm not sure. I know there's a lot more deer in the state than there is, like definitely pronghorn or elk. But we'll see what happens, man. I find out in March if I get the draw or not.
It takes that long? So how many months is that?
In fact, if you're going to put in, you need to do it like ASAP because I don't know how.
2 to 3 months or something? So the season starts at X and then they just tell you.
Oh, the
like,
season's not till, it's like the end of the year. The season's in, you know, I think I put in for September for one of the hunts. One of them's in December and one's in November. So, but you put in now and they do the draw. That way everything's ready by that time. Like they have everything going, you know.
So, okay. So we were talking about your hunting and the purpose of hunting. And then you said that you'd put in for the animals that you did.
Right. To get meat. Purpose.
Right. Better meat, good meat. And then if more people did this, then it would probably benefit conservation efforts in the state purely on the basis of the fact that it gives money to a budget deprived, right, part of the state. Because I know that was one of the things like they were trying to take some of the money from with the new administration was some of the outdoor stuff. Like they were trying to shrink the land, right, so that there was less to take care of.
Well, they're taking money from all kinds of places and putting money in all kinds of places.
Absolutely. Yeah, not to target that, but just to say that they're already kind of strapped. And then if you go and if everybody participated.
I mean, the thing is that it's pretty much, it's not a matter of everybody participating or not because there's only a certain amount of hunts that are allowed. And
sure.
The only thing is that the only money you're giving them is the application fee unless you
and then
actually
you get it back,
get
right?
the tag.
Did you say that?
You don't get the application fee back, but you get the so you put in an application fee and then you pay for the tag, which is like $34 for one tag, $60, $120, whatever for whatever tag.
Right.
You get that back. I'm not sure how much the application fee is. It's not that much, but they get to keep that for every. So if 10,000 people put in for one hunt, that all those application fees they're going to keep, but they're only going to give 3 hunts away. So there are only 3 people are going to pay for.
So then
tags.
but it is still helpful in a sense. To the state. Okay.
I mean, donate money if you want, or
yeah, absolutely.
Just, eliminate cars. Go around putting, potatoes in people's exhaust pipes so they can't drive for a while, so we can make air
totally
better.
Makes sense.
You like be an eco-terrorist. I don't know. Do what you got to do.
His name is Robert Paulson.
My name is Robert Paulson.
So I'm looking at a pile of goodies here, man. So where did you get these rocks from? This plethora of goodness.
You're still looking at the same pile of goodies.
No. I was looking at this pile of goodies, and I'm out of these. Is this the same area though? This is the Manzanos.
So I found that one right there with the fossil on my property. That little piece of land I got there up there in the Manzanos. That one it's some kind of plant. Not that one. The
Not
other
this
one
one.
right there. There's
This-
a bunch of rocks in that little bowl that I got there, but that's some kind of fossil that I found in Mexico. These fossils, arrowheads. You find antlers, you find sheds. You just everything you think of, you find out here, man. When it has to do with nature and being outside and stuff. I got all kinds of stuff in there.
Do you find any of this stuff near lakes, or you mostly find this in the mountains?
Yeah, I found some. I can't think of anything I found near lakes. Lakes are man-made. Most of the lakes in New Mexico.
Sure.
are man-made. So.
Yeah, Elephant Butte was definitely man-made.
That was a river, right? That was the
Yeah, they
Rio
just
Grande.
backed it up in this valley.
Now it's Elephant Butte Lake, which can still be a river depending on how much water we get. That lake goes up and down quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, finds all kinds of stuff out there. I was walking around at Cevaito a while back trying to get some pictures, and I found some crazy feathers. People are out there duck hunting. I find all kinds of stuff all over the place. I took my buddy. He came back from Dubai, and I took him out to San Lorenzo Canyon, him and his wife, and we walked around, and we found this crazy crystal. I don't know what the hell. It was like freaking fangs. We found that out there. Just out there.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
I don't know what that is. I don't know.
It's very jagged. It looks like it's the entrance into hell or something. Oh,
But,
that's cool. Looks like it's grown. Like, I mean, this is some stuff you see in the
I don't
museum.
know if grown's the right word, but if you think about it that way, it kind of makes sense because they just kind of build on each other to make crystals over a long period of time.
I wish I knew more about crystals, but
there's
they
a
say
lot
it's like
of
pressure and
stuff
shit,
in New
right?
Mexico. You got gold. I heard that there's opals in some parts of the state. There's crystal. There's granite. There's agate. All kinds of cool stuff. And again, I'm not a birder because I take a bunch of pictures of birds because that's what I see. I'm not a rock hound, but I just find stuff when I'm out. Right, like
What about these categories? Who's putting you in a category, sir? I wouldn't put you in a category.
I'm just trying to specify, man. Why you got to judge me?
Call you an outdoor morale.
All right, so I picked up these seeds. These are screw bean mesquite seeds.
Yeah,
and they're
this
very
comes
odd.
like this. Like this is like
Yeah,
this. When
that's
it comes off
the
plant.
seed pod from a screw bean.
It looks like you arranged this, man. These okay. So this looks like small insects. If you guys have ever seen like a what do they call them? A kingworm or something, or a king
a
something?
mealworm.
Mealworm.
maybe?
There you go. They look like mealworms.
Like attached to one stick.
Yeah,
all sticking out at
and-
different angles.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and this is natural.
It grows on a tree. You find them all over down in the Bosque, down in the Rio Grande, where
This
I'm
looks like
like
you
at
made
a lot
this.
of the
There's
time
no
because
way.
it's right down the road.
Didn't take a picture again.
I go in there. I seen a fox the other day when I was out in the Bosque. I'd never seen a fox down here, and I seen him run across there. But of course, I didn't have my camera out ready to take a picture. 'Cause
How
I was
dare you not
driving.
have your camera?
I was driving, and he ran across me in front of the road. I go out there to find stuff to take pictures of, and then like when I'm not ready, there it is.
Right. They just show up.
Animals just show up. You never know when you're going to see what you're going to see or where you're going to see it.
Right.
Indeed.
Indeed. Well, there's been times you told me like you had missed capturing some deer because you didn't have the battery
I was
in your
out.
camera.
I was up there hiking in the by the cave in
Yeah.
the snow. The only snow I've hiked in all year. And I walk around the corner, and this herd of deer takes off running, and the camera was in my backpack because when I climbed down a cliff to get out of that cave, I didn't want my camera to get messed up, and I just didn't stop at the bottom and take it out. I just continued to hike, and of course, right when I, the whole way up, I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
As soon as I put it in my bag, there's a whole herd of deer.
How dare you put it in your bag? Yeah, I'm working on trying to get
dare
a nice little camera. I don't have much beyond my phone, and I think I have a $30 GoPro.
Well, I finally grabbed a couple GoPros, and I actually got some footage I might be able to put online when
I was gonna say.
edit
So
it.
talk to me about that. That's gonna be like
The
a
canoe
YouTube?
trip. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna try and make a canoe channel,
a canoe tube.
a canoe channel on my YouTube trip that I took. I want to make a YouTube channel, and probably the first footage I'll be able to put on there was from the canoe trip because it actually came out clear. Using a GoPro is not as easy as going out and buying a GoPro and taking videos. So there's a lot of
Tell me more.
settings and stuff you got to do in there I didn't know about. I
To
have
press buttons and wiggles and
I have this really nice GoPro Sessions that my
Switches.
buddy bought me, but there's no screen on the back. So when I started filming with it, I didn't realize I was filming the majority of my feet and the trail instead of what's ahead of me on the trail.
right.
So I was basically.
Do they make like a
gimbal?
gimbal for that? Something that can float while you walk, like something that does like.
Yeah, they do. You got $200-300 extra. You can get a really
Maybe.
nice gimbal.
I mean,
But then again, I could hire somebody to follow me around with the camera too if I
This
had
is
enough
true.
money, right?
right. And then they had a droid for a while. That I know that there was a droid named Lucy, I believe is what it was. It was a Kickstarter, and it was a watch, and then you would throw the Lucy in the air.
Oh yeah, and it would follow you. But
Yeah.
the drones don't last. The batteries
right.
don't.
It had like a 8-minute life
Yeah,
or
dude.
something stupid.
I was gonna buy a DJI, whatever
right.
drone.
The Phantoms.
It was 7 minutes of flying time,
Yeah.
or something like that. 20 minutes of flying time maximum.
Talking about that, one thing that I was really digging was I would love to get one of those guys on the podcast. Is one of those cats that does the professional drone flying, and they do the racing, and they'll fly through the like warehouse going through those, and they do it all off of like a
Yeah, those
heads
are
up
cool.
display.
Those are cool.
Yeah, like a headset, and then they're flying through variations of stuff, and it looks like they're. I mean, I would think that that's not done like that. Like it looks almost like.
Like it's set up or something.
Yeah. Like they're not actually racing, but these guys got skills, man. And those things, because they have to swap batteries so often, they have like 10 batteries sitting there,
That's crazy.
and they're just waiting for them to land and then swap them because they're, like you said, 8-minute battery life. You can do a lap and drop it off. It's like changing a tire. Have a pit crew come up to your drone. Boop, 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 boop.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen the videos and stuff, but I don't really watch a lot of TV. Like Miles has a drone. My brother got him one for Christmas, and we play with that too. It's just, carrying something out there to the woods and it only lasting 7 minutes or 12 minutes
What's
or whatever.
the point?
It's really, it's not that. Like, it would be really nice to have one because you can get some really good footage and see things around you. But at the same time, you got to carry that extra weight just for 20 minutes of flying time, and then you don't, I don't know. I just haven't bought one yet. Maybe one day.
I was at Cabela's, man, and they had some there that were at $2,000, man. 2,000,
Wow.
yeah, and it was like the big monster that was. I think that it said 16 minutes for the battery time, but I'm sure that it takes you 2 hours to get to that point. Even if it did give you the 16 minutes, that would be it. Tapped out.
They got some good stuff over there at Cabela's, man. They got quite a lot of gear.
Yeah, we
Cabela's is a cool
got our
store.
first Cabela's in New Mexico, whoop, whoop, over there by where I work, actually. It's like within, I'd say 150, 200 feet from my job. So go on break. I'll walk over to Cabela's and look at the things I can't afford, like $2,000 DJI drone.
We've always had Cabela's here. It's just, it was a catalog on the internet, but
All right.
now you got a physical store. You can go in and touch shit you can't afford now.
Retail
or like for me,
America.
anyway, I can go in there and like touch a shit I can't afford instead of just looking at it on the internet.
Oh, I'm the same way, dude. They had a whole shelf, a whole row of Yeti coolers. Have you ever seen something that is more overpriced in your life?
Oh,
than a
dude, they work
goddamn
great.
Yeti?
Don't doubt the Yeti
Hey,
cooler. They
nobody
work
says they don't-
really
right.
good.
But you're telling me that when they go to manufacture these things, they cost that. It's like an iPhone really costs $1,000 to make. Let's talk about it.
I mean, you use price on what?
Jeez.
Cars, shit like that. Like,
guess.
dude, what am I talking into right
So-
now? How much of this stuff really cost what you
so
paid for? You know what I mean?
You're using a used mic that I think somebody left there. I paid, I think, $50.
He found
for
this. It was in the trash behind a strip
Yeah.
club. Like, it smelled funny, but I cleaned it up. Put your mouth really close. Yeah, keep putting your
There's
mouth
some
really
white
close
stuff
when
that
you
was
talk
crusty around the edges. I never thought
Smells. Is that Shannon? Sarah?
There you are. Strongest sense tied to memory.
Oh, dude, I love coffee. I have an addiction. I have to take coffee with me every time I go hiking. I take that mushroom chaga with it has that chaga mushroom in it or whatever,
yeah.
the little instant packets. I go out there and I take my little stove.
So you
go
got
hiking
me-
everywhere. Anywhere I go, man, I have to pull out that little stove and make some coffee in the woods.
So I
Gotta
got
do it.
I
Gotta do
got
it.
fired from a job in like 2007, 2008. And this guy and I had never really like taken trip after trip out to the mountains to go just explore some of the places that he does. So right as I had gotten fired, I was like, well, hell. So he has his 4 days off. Oh, yeah. And it was like December, man. And it was just so perfect because we'd go out there and we'd hike and it's so quiet and calm and it was real beautiful. But that's where we started to do a lot of that hiking, man. And I wish that we'd had better cameras because we did take some footage. And that was some good times that we found some really interesting stuff. But coming back to the coffee, I had always been a super like creamer sugar kind of guy, and I wasn't really into the health stuff
Was
so
it
much.
me?
Oh yeah.
I converted you to
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
black coffee.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can't drink nothing in my coffee, but
Yeah, and this guy's like, let's go as minimal as possible. So we go up there for one of the first times, even just going out for like a day hike, like not even, it's an out and back, right? So you're not overnight, but you took coffee anyways. So he takes this little, it looks like a Bunsen burner. If you don't know anything about backpacking burners, it just attaches to this little butane torchy thing. You just twist it together and you light it and you go. So this thing's going and he just boils some water and he's throwing in these instant coffee packets. Well, I hated it. I was like, oh man, where's your sugar? So I remember I was bringing sugar and creamer and all that shit, and messing with it. After like the second time, I kept forgetting to bring it. So we went hiking so many times for that time that I was on unemployment, seeking job, going to school, the whole bit. But just, and for whatever reason, during that time, it like converted me. Now I can't drink it with, don't get me wrong. It's a nice change up to add like a Starbucks mix, right? But if I'm at home, dude, I can do a whole pot straight black.
Oh yeah, that's how I live, and it's always on. I coffee. I mean, when it comes to hiking, they go hand in hand for me. I have to have coffee when I'm out in the woods. I have to make coffee before I go out there. I have some in the car when I get back. I just I don't know, man. This is caffeine addiction. Got to be addicted to something though. Yeah, man. Like, oh, dude, when you talk about that, like, when I go hiking, 90% of what I'm doing out there is just like thinking, and I do so much just inside my own head.
Do you feel
know
like
what I mean?
it's rather the lack of thinking though? Because like that's what I do all day,
It's
bro.
not that
when
it's
I'm
the
at
lack.
work, and
I get what
hate
you're
it,
saying.
man. It makes my brain.
It's
just,
a clarity thing. There's
Sure.
nothing else out there to distract you. We're sitting in my house right now. I could be thinking, you know what? Did I lock the door to my Jeep?
Sure.
I got my computer right there. Did I edit those pictures? You know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much
yeah.
stuff around you to distract you. When you're out there in the woods, there's nothing. You got your phone. Every now and then I'll pull out my phone. Maybe I'll listen to my headphones for a minute, but I got to take them out because I want to listen to what's going on. But then I start thinking, and I think just all day. I think just whatever. You know, I could
Right.
dissect my mind just thinking out there in the woods. I have so many thoughts. And it's so peaceful. And I don't know, man. I just feel like I learned so much about myself being out there in the woods.
Is
Just
that what
being
you
inside my own head.
attempt to share to people though, like through your website and through like the stuff that you're doing? Because I came to this when I was talking to I've done a few of these now with the musicians, and I always ask about that, like what is it that drives you to want to share? You know what I mean? And I really appreciate you for what you do, and I think like you had coined it so perfectly, like what do you call it, like
A one-footed philosopher who walks around in the woods, something like
no,
that.
no. But I was saying like people live like vicariously through you.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they're
People, couch hikers.
there you go,
They
couch
can sit there
hikers.
and see the woods without being able to leave their chair. When
And is that something that you seek out? Because I think it's cool when you explain things to me. That to me, I think if I went out and attempted to do like a random sojourn, I would probably way overdo the getting ready for it and all that stuff. Whereas you would go out and just get it done.
It
You know what I
was
mean?
it was a lifetime of I'm not that old. I'm 30. I turned 30 this year, but last year it was just an entire lifetime of hiking, of me starting out real young, doing it by myself. Whatever got me into it, whatever I did, I just have been hiking since I was a kid by myself. And so a long time ago, I got over that need to like be out there to do something. I
Yeah.
got over that need to feel anxious about the hike or whatever. Like when I'm out there in the woods anymore, I don't worry. I just
So do you think,
I
are
just
you like aiming to get
explore.
people's spark going to feel that same way?
I like to educate. I like to, I want to show people the collared lizard, which is like a freaking velociraptor, right? This thing, it runs on its hind legs. It looks like a dinosaur.
and they get decently big too, right?
Yeah, they're pretty big for a wild lizard,
6
right?
inches, something like that?
What other, as opposed to a domestic lizard, which you can find, their milk is very delicious. The collared lizard that we have out here is just this crazy lizard, and you take pictures of it and you show people this stuff. And I'm not quite there yet, where it's not like you go to my page and you find the collared lizard and you find
Yeah.
all about it. But I'm getting there. Like I like to, I wrote an article a while back, and it was top animals you didn't know lived in New Mexico.
Okay.
So the coral snake, I'm reading about this thing, and I'm like, because it's cool looking. It's got it's yellow, it's black,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
red, it's venomous. It's just this really cool looking snake, and I open this science book that I have about reptiles and amphibians of New Mexico, and it literally says in the book that the coral snake will fart loudly for its size in self-defense. And I literally laughed
Why
as
for
I
its
read
size?
it.
How is that?
Because it's a small snake and it farts quite loudly. I don't know. That's exactly what I said. Like, it farts loud. It's now my favorite snake besides the rattlesnake. Now the coral snake, the hognose, and the rattlesnake are by
So
far
bring
my
it
favorite
back
snakes.
full circle. You said coral snake in New Mexico. This thing's in New Mexico?
Yeah, coral snakes are in New Mexico.
And
They're
they're
native
poisonous.
species. They're very venomous.
You're
Yep.
shitting me. So
Yeah.
so these aren't the coral snakes I see like off of the Australian coast on BBC something.
No, I don't know. Those are probably banded coral snakes or something.
Sure,
like that.
okay,
But
so
yeah,
something
we have coral snakes in New Mexico.
amphibious. Okay.
And if you go to my site, so you of all people should have read that article, and you would know about the animals that you can find on my site, such as jaguar in southern New Mexico.
You were this one I have read, yes.
Right.
And we had this conversation because you told me about how they had at one point, but now there's no longer in New Mexico, right?
They travel into the state. So there's probably not a breeding population in the state, but they do make their way into New Mexico. There's the Capmundi. No, not the Cap. Is it Capmundi? There's the ringtail.
Okay.
It's a really odd looking animal.
Right.
There's, pelicans.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
And I remember you showing
Found
me
those
that
at the butte.
while
Yeah,
you were
that
writing
was-
the article. Yep.
Where I was stuck in the freaking mud. I was looking at pelicans the whole time I was out there.
And the Butte's that man-made lake, and you had pelicans out there. That's
Yep.
some shit. Are there goats out there? There's supposed to be goats out there at the Butte, at the Buzel.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we have Dall sheep. You mean like goat, like domestic
Yeah,
goats?
yeah,
or like
yeah. So there's like an island that was out there, and the story went that somebody had taken one out there. So many.
one, and it
It's
bred
like
from
one.
there.
Yeah,
Was it
and
like
like he
Adam?
ate nothing. He ate fish. They came up and were like, "Eat me."
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there might be goats. There's a lot
I
of
don't know,
weird
man.
stuff.
I'm just
Dude, I
asking.
found a
You're the animal
chicken
guy.
on the Bosque. So who am I to say
How
there's no
dare you.
goats?
That's
at the
Felicia
Rio
the
Grande?
chicken.
I want to go back and catch it, man. I want to have like that. That would be the cool. Where'd you get that chicken? Why do you have one chicken? Where'd you get it from? Like, I found it on the Bosque.
This ridiculous YouTube video of you like hunting it.
That's
and
what I was
eating
gonna
it.
do, man. That was my plan. I was gonna go back with my GoPro and like go catch this damn chicken on the Bosque, but.
This is surviving.
Oh yeah, there's so many crazy animals in the state. Like and the more I can find, the more I can photograph. The more I get excited about it, the more I can show that to people. Like, check this out. Like, dude, I was driving down Highway 47, going to my parents' house, and a badger ran across the road. And I was talking to this girl that I was dating at the time on the phone, and literally she still was making fun of me because I was like, "It's a badger! Oh my God, there's a badger!" She's like, "What are you talking about?" I had to turn around. I took pictures of it. I have pictures of the badger.
That badger didn't give a shit though.
Honey badgers don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
But in New Mexico, it's not a honey badger. I didn't know that they even lived around here.
Yeah,
I knew we had them in
crazy.
the state, but I didn't know they lived around here. So
Huh.
I found this freaking badger in New Mexico.
Right. Honestly, through your teachings, I've learned more about wildlife in the state that I live in than I would have ever thought. Like, I watch a lot of BBC stuff. I watch a lot of I was a Discovery Channel kid. I don't have cable now, but I honestly I probably know more about African continent predators than I do New Mexico predators, right? And that's sad to say because I've been here for the majority of my life.
I learned by just having a desire. I learn everything. That's all I want to do is learn. I'm constantly listening to podcasts and like we're making right now. I listen
you
to
read more
podcasts.
damn
I listen
books
to
than
books.
anybody else I know.
I
You
listen.
read 'em
I
too.
read. All of it, man. Just there's so much out there that I don't know about that I want to learn about. So I'm constantly looking at
Dr. Cash. Yes, Dr. Cash.
One day, yes, I will be known for my knowings of things that I know. Or I don't know. But yeah, I wrote that article about the creepy crawlies on the Rio Grande, the praying mantises, the Jerusalem crickets, the wind scorpions, just stuff like that. You can check that out if you go on the site. Stuff that you probably may or may not have known lives out there.
Because I think most people would think just desert dwellers, straight up like scorpions and
I can't claim that. I knew it all.
tarantulas.
Right.
So I got here and we wanted to talk about this. So this guy, I come over here to his haunt, right? And we're hanging out and he brings out, what's her name? What's your fucking spider?
Scarlet?
Scarlet.
Scarlet.
It's a rose tarantula.
Rose-haired.
Rose-haired. And
Chilean rose hair.
Chilean rose hair. And he brings her out and we start talking and she spins around to look at me and she's checking me out on his arm, right? And I'm like, okay. And then he's like, well, you got to hold this. You got to hold the spider. Come on, man. You're about ready to do a podcast with like an outdoor guy. I'm like, okay. So I go to put my hand out and she straight puts her little claws on me because these little suckers got these like hooks for feet and straight claws me. And as he's trying to like push her off, she's like, "No, you won't. No,
not this guy.
Yeah.
No."
And so I'm like sensing that awkward moment where you see like TV hosts get bit. I'm like, "No, I'm cool." And then he takes her back. So then we go in there and there's a hognose. He's got in his back room. And
my old former boss at my job that I work at now, he gave me a hognose. He gave me a tarantula. He gave me 2 other snakes, but I don't have those anymore.
So I find this guy nice and freshly shed. He's got a beautiful coat. Looks an awful lot like a rattlesnake, except
It's
for
one
his
of my
nose.
favorite snakes too. I love hognoses.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
They're just a very unique
Native of
snake.
New Mexico?
Yep.
Okay. And you said they're venomous?
Sneak. I'm pretty sure I just said the word sneak.
It's your favorite sneak?
It's a sneak. They go crawl in the grass. It's a sneak. You got to throw the accents in there. Everybody's
doesn't
like,
have a rattler.
how many people are on this podcast?
Oh, there's
I've
exactly.
heard seven or 80.
No, it's Seamus's turn. No, you go in the bathroom. I'll talk for a while. No, it's just Seamus and McNeil.
God damn, tell you right now.
McNeil.
To continue with what we were talking about.
What were we talking about?
They are rear-fanged. They hunt toads. They mostly eat toads, so when they're in captivity...
What does rear fang mean? Speak this Deutsch to me, man.
So if you think of like a snake, when you think about like a snake biting you, they open their mouth and they got those 2 fangs in the front.
Like
They bite
Aladdin,
you.
Jafar.
Rear fang means that the snakes are the snakes. See? Can't talk. I need more alpha brain. The fangs are in the back of their jaw, close to the back of their mouth. So when they bite, the animal can't get away, as opposed to biting it to inject it with venom.
So they
It's
put
more
their
like a
whole
holding
mouth
thing.
on,
Right.
and then hook in to like hang on.
And then they chew. They like chew, and that infuses the venom into the animal.
So it's not as much of a direct injection. I mean, I know
It's
you're
direct
not like
port fuel injection.
goddamn me if I had 4.8 liter supply.
So, and they look very similar to rattlesnakes, which is what I like about. I love rattlesnakes.
Do they have similar carburetors or interchangeable?
I have a. I'm not sure. We'll have to. Can we get that Googled? Can we? I don't know. I have a thing with rattlesnakes. I have a love for rattlesnakes. I am in love with the moon, all of the night sky.
Can a rattlesnake be tamed though? Like, so you have
You
this
can
hognose,
defang
which is
it,
a venom
but-
snake. venomous snake, and you're not the only one that can't speak. A venomous snake, can you do the same thing with a rattlesnake?
Can you what?
Well, you were able to pick the hognose up, and I was able to
It's
hold
rear
this
fang
beautiful-
though, so even if it bit me, I'd have to stick my finger in its throat for it to envenomate me.
I bet you it's
It might be a she. I don't know. It could be a she of hog nose. I'm not judging. The rattlesnake, it has fangs, and its instinct is to bite to protect itself. There's people who pick them up.
But by definition, they always want to be on the defense or the offense.
So it's a misconception that rattlesnakes want to hurt you. Nothing wants to die, right?
Sure.
A rattlesnake doesn't understand that you're a person. It doesn't see you as any different than a cow that might step on it, a bear, an animal that wants to eat it, right?
Right.
So it doesn't know what you are.
But there is a thing behind them, like doing more or less of an injection on a basis of a warning compared to I want to eat you.
There's no telling. There you can get bit by 7 rattlesnakes, and one of them might put all of its venom in you, and one of them might not put any venom in you.
Sure.
But there's no it's the way its posture is or whatever. You're not going to tell.
Well, my mother-in-law's been hit a couple times when we used to live south of Berlin. I know this is like the area where we frequent.
South of Horales, way down there, by Highway 60.
Yeah, is way the GD down there. So I have found rattlesnakes when I had a house down there underneath the stairs when I came home. One was sunbathing.
A lot of prairie rattler snakes down. God damn it!
God damn,
I'm done with this. I'm done. Podcast is over. No,
mic drop. But she would. I think one time she reached down to move a log, and there was a little one there, and it just popped her once, and her hand swelled up, not enough to make her sick, I guess. So she was cool with that, for whatever. And then from there, there was another scenario where she actually had dogs that had gotten hit, and one of them was dead, and the other one was just marled, just real tore up. Like one side of its body was just locked up.
Yeah,
they're puffed up from the venom.
They're it
looked horrible. Well, I guess she didn't know where it was at, and she was reaching down, and that one nailed her. And she still went and put the groceries away. Fed the dogs and fed the cows, or watered the cows, I believe. And then she got in the vehicle and drove the hour to the hospital. And I said, I'm proud of you, because it took her all the way till the next day for the doctors to clear her.
Wow.
Because they wanted to make sure her hand swelled up the whole bit. But that's how frequent you get rattlers down here and where they are in proximity to humans.
Throughout our hikes, like stuff we've gone on together, we've seen rattlesnakes. Remember the one that almost got you?
Yep.
That one. That's so fun. That one that almost got. Remember the one I stuck my hand on when we were climbing those rocks?
Yes.
And it was like March, and there was snow on the ground, and there was a damn rattlesnake
because
outside.
it was cold. I think that helped.
Yeah.
Because that sucker almost would have been your lunch, man.
But no rattlesnake is like coming into your house and like waiting till you're asleep and like, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. It's not its nature to want to hurt you. It just doesn't want to die.
Sure.
Right. So
what about but it's not like a black mamba will chase you, right? A rattler wouldn't chase you even if it saw you or something like that.
I'm sure there's probably rattlesnakes with bad attitudes.
That have,
you know what I mean? But so they developed the rattle because they live out in the grasslands and stuff, or where they live, to not get stepped on by bigger animals.
Okay.
Because think about the reason you would have a rattle on you as an animal. You're saying, attention, I'm here. Look at me. Right. You don't want to get eaten, so why would you want to do that unless it's to protect yourself?
Right. To say, hey, I'm about ready to.
Because what reason would an animal want to draw attention to itself like that? Right. Other than to say, don't fuck with me. Get away from me. And people are like, oh, it's rattling. I'm going to go kill it because it's alerting me that it's going to come rob my house tonight. You know? I don't know. Rattlesnakes get such a bad... It's something I'm passionate about. I love rattlesnakes, and they have a place. You get rid of all the rattlesnakes... I'm not going to live in that state where you get rid of all the rattlesnakes, because you're going to have so much rodents and plague.
Well, in New Mexico, this is where hantavirus came from. Was New Mexico? It was down south, and the first recorded
Los
case.
Alamos National Labs. They created it there.
They grew it. Them and the Umbrella Corporation, alongside the T.
George Bush
also created the Hanta. It was also the World Trade Center. Somehow was involved with that. That was the whole.
They were all, and it was all in an attempt to test the theory of jet fuel. It was soaking steel beams.
It was the pizza place in Jersey. What was it called?
Pizzagate. Pizzagate. This is going like
off the
rails.
Damn
it, Alex Jones!
God damn.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, there's just
alien people.
There's lizards
running the government.
I swear to God, he could transform into a scaly beast and rape.
So, for those who don't know me, My mind
Alex
works this
Jones.
way. This is 90% of how my conversations go. It'd be like, dude, so did you eat at that burger place the other day? Squirrel, banana. Oh, dude, car. Hey, so doesn't go in a straight line ever. Never goes in a straight line, which is actually one of the reasons I love the woods. One of the reasons I love the woods is because when you go out there is no you're rich. There's no you're poor. There is you're fat, and there is you're skinny.
Sure.
You know, because if you're tired, you're gonna be tired in the woods.
Testing you right there.
But
sure.
you send two people out in the woods together, and no matter where either one of them come from, they're pretty much equal, right? There's nothing that
Sure.
like no. Well, I have a Visa Platinum. Okay, you go swipe it on that fucking tree, right? I'm gonna go over here and drink from the stream. Yeah,
Right.
And I hope you get your crystal water.
That pack of cigarettes a day, and now I want to see how that does you out here, fella.
The chaos. I love the chaos out there. The fact that, and it's like it's not chaos in the sense that like there's burning cars and shit, but it's just like there's no rhyme or reason. You know, there's no when a leaf falls from a tree, you don't know where it's gonna land. Right?
Got heavy as hell just now.
Philosopher with one foot just walking through this world.
Is that like the butterfly, and on the other side's the tsunami?
I'm just, you know what I mean? Like you go out there,
No, I
there's
got you.
nothing scripted about it. You know what I
Sure.
mean? There's nothing.
Well,
about
there's
it
nothing
that-
to expect. I mean, there's been times when I've gone out in my very few hikes that I've done comparatively to yours, but I'll go to do something that I feel is off trail, something a little extreme. When I go up to Jemez, I like to find rock spots where they're a little more complicated to climb, purely because I'm a little more athletic than a lot of folks.
no.
So I like to do tennis shoes and tight fitting clothes and go
Bouldering.
up, get yourself scared a little bit. Yeah,
Yep.
boulder. Yeah, and there's been times when I found spots where it's like, oh, that's why that's not on the trail, because
Yeah.
like I'll get stuck and I'm freaking out, but there's nothing like that feeling of almost helplessness. But and I understand what you're saying from that perspective, but it's also extremely frightening, and I could see why people freak
It's the
out.
adrenaline that you get from it. Remember we were talking about that last time. Like I'll go down some crappy slopes, and I'm like, why did I do this? When you start doing it, you're like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
I got it. And then when you're halfway down, you're like, I suck. I shouldn't have done this.
Right.
What the hell's wrong with me? I deserve this. I deserve to be stuck.
I deserve every part of this. Yeah. Well,
stupid
that's how I've
me.
done it with my son the last few times that we went out. We went and did some basic little trips out to the Manzanos.
Yeah,
It's
man,
been
we
a
need to
little
get the kids. This summer is going to be.
Yeah, we got you, man. I mean, and I think the
summer.
more of these we document like this, and we can do a vlog.
Oh, that's all, folks.
A vlog. Okay, so I want to talk about that. So little known fact is Porky Pig, the original voice. I want to say it was Mel Blanc.
Okay,
I got to talk about
went
this.
somewhere
No,
else.
I did.
I was
I
like,
did.
I thought I was going to talk about vlogs. Porky the Pig.
I brought on the subject, so I got to talk about it. So Porky the Pig, the way that he does the stuttering is actually a very scripted piece of work. Like the actual stutter itself, every part and every sound to it is actually considered to be like a masterclass in voice acting. So the way that it is taught is this is like something that is something to aspire to. Is to be able to actually do something of that level, because the way that he does it, it's like a but like I swear to you, it's a scripted thing. I didn't know that, but there was a show on Netflix, and I can't remember.
That's actually what they aspire to in Scientology. So Tom Cruise
be
was
able
trying
to
to
stutter
get to
harder.
that level.
to the stutter.
That's where you. That's
Level
the
10.
top level.
So you turn invisible and then you stutter fully.
And
Like
the
you can
midichlorians.
that's supposed to be at the level that Tom Cruise is. He's supposed to be able to turn himself invisible.
In the midichlorians.
Yes.
How high is his level?
He has
Anakin or higher.
Exactly.
Vader.
Exactly 14 Empire Strikes Back.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The Scientologist is crazy. All of them. Religion doesn't play a part in my life much. I'm not a part of that thing. Whatever. Do what you do.
So you don't feel like a divine presence when you're out in the woods.
I go to the dude. I've been stabbed. I've told this story before. I don't think I've told it on here, but I got stabbed one time, and they took me to the hospital, and I had to get hit with the paddles because my heart stopped beating.
Damn.
Nothing. I saw nothing. Maybe I didn't die. I don't
Right.
know. Maybe it wasn't long enough. Maybe.
I mean, were you out?
Yeah, they had to hit me with the paddles. My heart stopped. They had to hit me with the paddles.
But you don't remember nothing.
I remember it was like, when you turn off the TV and like the lights go from the outside to the middle, and it's like that flash in the middle.
Yeah.
That was it. And that was
Huh.
it. There was nothing after that. And then I woke up and I was like, and they were like, we got you. You're okay.
Wow. So you woke up shortly thereafter. You remember all that?
I remember the whole thing. I remember going to the bathroom after they took me to the hospital after I got stabbed at a party because I was always partying when I was younger and stupid, whatever.
Got you. Come on.
And this guy stabbed me where I was fighting him, and the dude pulled out a knife and stabbed me once in my liver and hit me once in my lung. They took me to the hospital in Albuquerque, and I remember laying there after they like brought me in, and they were like, "All right, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna get you in surgery as soon as we can." And I had to go to the bathroom, and I got up, went to the bathroom, came back, and I laid down, and I just remember like all of a sudden like feeling like my body was shutting down. I just remember going, and then that was it. Like the flash, the light,
that's scary,
everything,
man.
everything went to like the center of my like face. You know, like I just felt like everything closed in on me, and it like. Then it was out, and then they hit me with the paddles, and the guy was like, "We got you. You're all right. You're all right."
Wow, right there on the spot.
On the bed. I don't know how long it took them. You know, like you could have been like beep, and they came running in, but they had to hit
So
me
you
with
lost
the
like a lot of
paddles.
blood? Like what?
It was because I got hit in the lung, and I was bleeding out through my lungs and stuff,
Internally
and I
and
got
all
hit in the liver, and I was just bleeding everywhere, and I don't know what it was. I mean, I got stabbed. I could assume
Sure,
that was probably
sure.
I
That's a big
had
problem.
Like,
That
I
could
had
be
like
like
a splinter, and I had an infection.
That makes sense. Okay, then
at
they hit
that
you with the
moment-
paddles. Totally
Yeah, it
makes
was
sense.
crazy, man. The guy, he was a little punk fucking guy. Had to stab me because he was getting beat. He tried to jump my buddy, and I fucking jumped on him.
Yeah.
and yeah.
Well, there's not, again, just speaking to the realism of what is Jared,
Living in
there's not too
Mexico.
many people I know that will just straight up get into a brawl for every point. There's a few people
I don't like
that can say
fight for
that.
no reason. It's not like I like to get out and fight and stuff. I used to when I drank all the time when I was partying, but yeah, like the guy was jumping. My buddy was fighting with one dude who pulled out a knife, funny enough, to stab me, and my
Yeah.
buddy took that away from him. And this guy jumped on my buddy, and then I pulled that guy off my buddy and started fighting him, and he pulled out a knife. So like, why do people have so many goddamn knives?
all
the time?
these
Like, what do
all
you-
these
what
great
is this?
decisions a bunch of adults made in
Yeah.
a single moment.
But to get on to me now, ladies, if you're out there,
Ladies, get on me.
you know, it's the woods. It's being outside, experiencing nature. I've gone through some tough times too. I've gone through some rough stuff, but
You feel like the woods helps that?
it's amazing the therapeutic power that being outside has for
Sure.
your body, right? Like
Yeah.
being in the woods can reset all the negative stuff that I have going on. But then I also feel like if I don't go out to the woods enough, that it's like, man, I really got to get out and go back out there.
Yeah.
I have to do it.
Well, and I think that if you don't go out there, it wouldn't be because it's your itch, man. Like I got a thing with computers.
me.
Like I love to do stupid stuff with computers, and that's just something that I grew up on.
Yeah.
So some of the dumbest tricks, like
And I dabble, and it's funny. You dabble in hiking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And I
that's true.
dabble in computers. I was just working on that stupid Mac trying to get that thing to work.
oh, don't say those cursed words. No, the Macs are that's. I would love to know how to run it
couldn't.
because that's what Spider actually.
I got it to
edits
turn
everything
on. I got it to work.
You got
but
it to turn.
I
The
can't-
power comes on.
Well, no, it works now. I have the operating system on it, but I can't get it to do what I wanted
But
to.
Plex won't run on it.
No Plex on there.
Dangerous.
I mean, it will, but I have to update
Danger,
it. I have to buy the
danger.
OS or
Hey,
download it.
any Apple iOS experts, hit up Mr. Cash, and he'll send you a free picture of New Mexico
Also,
wilderness.
Apple experts in general. Like, if you know
guess
about
that's a thing.
Fiji and Granny Smith,
Those
whatever,
Granny Smiths,
I'd like
yeah.
to know. What do
Yeah,
you know about
you know.
apples? Like,
Yeah,
what
like
is there
what's-
to know? Is there
what
something
kinda-
I'm missing about
Is there a
apples that
juice?
people know about?
Yeah, can you get apple syrup like you can get maple syrup out of an apple
Was
tree?
there a Jamie Appleseed or Janie? Is that do we believe that now because we don't want to be it wasn't Johnny Appleseed, okay?
You got to be
Janie
politically correct. There's got to be a
Appleseed too?
genie.
They were there together.
It's interchangeable. How dare you?
Or was it a different fruit? Was it like peaches? She was out planting all the peach trees.
Why's there got to be apples? It's far right leaning, left center, rightish,
I don't-
north southish.
People could hate me. I don't care. Come find me. I'll see you in the woods.
It's no
You
longer.
won't see me though.
It's no longer a pursuing greatness show. It's a political not nothing show because we talk about not nothings when it comes to I can't even listen to any politics anymore, and I won't. And I'm not going to even bring it into that realm. But the thing that I love now is that that's almost all that comes up.
You
But
not wanting to talk about it has just triggered me. I'm
do
triggered.
you feel triggered? Do you need a safe
Triggered.
space? Hold on. Hold on.
Give me somebody. Give me a Tide Pod
You need
right
to say-
now.
Tide Pod this man. Tide Pod this man.
This is bullshit.
Oh, my agent.
Everything is on the internet now. Like when my kid's older, he's gonna see all my hiking, and then he's gonna go farther back and be like, "What kind of opinions did you have on shit? What is this?"
When everybody first got on Facebook, they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Everything's capital letters.
And my kid's gonna find it and be like, "Wow,
Yeah.
wow."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to my
drunken
virtual world.
episode.
I don't want to be here in this normal reality looking at my dad's old Facebook. I'm gonna go with my virtual.
Plug into their avatar that walks around in real life. They just sit in the chair.
What is life gonna be like? Do you think? I mean, look at where we're at right now. Do you think our parents thought that they were gonna be parents of kids doing this? Are we gonna be parents of kids living in virtual reality worlds, like
Yes.
fighting wars in
Yes.
their own civilizations.
You know what I think would be
and
the
shit,
great?
you
I
know?
think the greatest concept I've seen out of like the sci-fi modern era is being able to download your consciousness that we see as consciousness and moving it to another thing, like like a humanoid. Like
Can
if you could
imagine
clone yourself.
annoying people that you know, and then them putting their consciousness into something else and having more of them and more and
Like an
more
alarm
and
clock.
more. How do you get rid of this guy? Everywhere I
somebody-
go, it's like somebody's going to be. You know what somebody's going to do one day? They're gonna hack a toaster, and they're gonna have their consciousness in a toaster, and they're gonna be like, dude, check it out. Like, man, this is a sentient toaster.
Be like, be like Gilbert Gottfried's voice. Hello.
hello, this toast is done. It needs to be buttered.
But butter.
The world we live in, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy. Technology is too much, too, man. Like, I love getting out there in the woods, and I take a damn Bluetooth headset with me.
Of course.
And I take the newest cell phone.
Yeah,
And I
gotta
have
bring the solar
freaking
charger in
camera.
case you run out of power. Don't want to get disconnected from the world. You know what I love is how you can still get 4G while you're out there.
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
I got a Facebook pop. Ding.
It's-
Hold on, let's stop the hike. Let me check.
It's a new little hobby of mine to try and find a spot where I can't get service. Right? Like, I want to find a spot where I can't get service. So far,
that's
in
when
the
you
bottom
find
of a
the cougar
mine,
pictures, and we come back to Mount St. Helens.
There's
the
a-
last one to take the picture before them.
there's that damn mine. The mine. You haven't been in the? We went in that one. We talked about that last time. But
Yeah.
the other mines that I found, there's some other mines that I found. There's an old German mine. I heard it was an old some guy that I ran into in the woods told me it was. An
You were
old
just
German
told
mine.
this. This isn't like a research
No,
backed thing.
I don't know what it is, but there's an old mine in the.
What makes it
Manzanos.
German? You racist ass. No. Do they have old wooden shoes in there? Oh, that's Dutch. Now I'm racist.
See,
God damn.
yeah, we don't know. I ain't even gonna touch this one.
I don't know.
Right?
No, I don't
German.
know. I don't know what would make it German. No.
All right. There was some old Germans who mined a hole. They mined.
They could have been Dutch.
They didn't listen
We
to
don't
it,
know.
all right? But then they did, and then they mined the hole. Do what I say. I'm a hole.
It's on the
There's
hole.
there's
Put
these
it on the
mines
hole.
out there that I found. There's I don't
We're talking still
I don't even know
Manzanos,
what the
though.
fuck I'm talking about now.
No, the German mines.
Yeah.
The guy told you that they were German, but what is in these? Were they different than the ones that we saw? Because the ones
No,
we saw
they're just
were
really cool. Going back in those mines, and like me and my brother
Checking
went in
it
there,
out.
and we found this freaking squirrel right around this rock, and he had nowhere to go. We didn't want to like harass him because it was
Oh,
like poor
God.
squirrel, but. I filmed him and everything, and the guy was like, the squirrel was like, dude, get the hell out of my mind, all right? We went all the way in the back, and there's like these old beams holding up the roof, and like
Oh,
I
okay.
bumped into
Very
one,
picturesque.
and-
Oh, yeah.
oh, dude, man,
It starts to shift.
yeah, everything like goes right into that middle of your stomach, you know, like,
Yeah.
oh, God, yeah, it was crazy.
I always
man.
think of like Scooby Doo cartoons, you know, and then you just see like they're always walking through like mines, and old dusty places. It's like there's nothing in their way.
Were
They can just like
in the
walk
world
along
that
or
there
run.
was so many mines.
Yeah, so many spooky places, and they always have cobwebs in there. Like, why did the spider make a perfect cobweb there? Why?
You know what's better is when
why
you play a
there?
video game and you get in one of those foreign temples and they have like ammo for your new gun that you just upgraded to because they didn't exist 5 minutes
right,
before that.
right. Or you get double the amount of stuff because you got an upgrade. Be like, oh, there's more in here now.
But the
as I
ancient
progress,
the ancient temples had gun parts.
Of course
from
they did.
2019,
Of course they did.
2020.
your fight, your
Is there? So could I find a temple now that has like gun parts for like a plasma laser? It hasn't been invented yet. Like, damn it! I don't even have the gun for this. I need to upgrade before I come back.
It's a plasma sword like from Halo. You don't even know what it does. You point at your face and just
Ah.
zap your head off.
This podcast has gone way,
Way
away
off.
from I don't
Way
know
off.
what was the. You know what the point was? The whole point was just like with that Crocodile Dundee commercial to sell the new Nair shampoo. Once you use it, you won't have to use it again.
This is brought to you by Nair. Take
When
it
you
all
don't have
out.
hair, where it was is bare.
way down there.
I don't know, man. Just like get out there, go hike, go explore, and if you can't, check my site out. Check out some pictures. Listen to the podcast. Look for video coming. There's going to be some more video.
And you're writing a book too,
Initially.
right?
I'm starting to dabble in writing some stuff. I want to write something for a Kindle. I'm writing tips and tricks for hiking in New Mexico.
So look out for
Tip
that.
number 1, when Morgan screams, run away. Don't worry, because it's probably just little tiny spiders. When he doesn't wake up, it's because there's a bear around, and there's actually probably some
Look, man,
sense of danger.
I had a lot of wine that night, all right? And when the bear came, he could have ate us like sausages.
Next time I'm bringing beer too, because like I know people bring wine when they go hiking and shit. Whatever, I don't know.
It's less, you know what it
Wine,
is?
there's
I think it's
beer,
because you can't
whiskey.
shake it up.
That's
You
what it
know,
was, and like, they
yeah.
come in the little bottles. You have to buy glass, but I go all the time. I take beer when I go hiking. Sometimes I'll take like a Foster's and I'll be out there in the woods and I'll open it up and I'm like walking back all stumbling. Like, what if I fall out here? I probably shouldn't get all shasty-faced in the woods, man.
Wake up to a bear just gnawing off your arm. That's okay.
He already sleeping and I'm like, I don't want to wake him
This is
up.
a dream.
It's okay. Shh. Why did he come sleep next to me? Why was I sleeping in the woods?
So we can look forward to more YouTube stuff coming into your website. So you're going to try to tie everything basically to livenewmexico.com.
When we say more, I mean some. We can look forward to some YouTube stuff. Because I don't have anything out there yet. There's nothing other than
Again,
me
he
eating a
needs
scorpion.
Mac help. Did we talk about that to be able to
New Mexico frost snakes. All right. If you want to see some old school Live New Mexico footage,
man.
that was way before Jared became Live New Mexico. New Mexico frost snakes.
I got to take down Wiley Hunters.
Crikey.
Oh, no.
Please don't fucking say that. I don't like that one.
You brought it there, bro. We made this horrific video, which I'm probably going to have to pull down now, called Wiley Hunters on YouTube. And it's even more horrific because now, like, it's a thing where even, what was it, 2009 when we made it? Like,
it was terrible.
It was very terrible.
But it was fun. It was stupid.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, we would go out and hike, and I always came up with stupid ideas to try to, like, make viral videos, which usually when you say things like that, it is nowhere near a viral video. It's probably the exact opposite of a viral video. But when we started to shoot it, like, we started to piece together a storyline
that like a digital camera that we shot it on too. Like
it was an old like point and shoot.
I think
Sony.
You died twice in there.
Yeah, I died twice.
So much sense.
Yeah, and then we were chasing nothing. So all the great computer graphics that were not there at all. The background extras.
All right,
there's no
the
lunch,
worst part of that video.
No craft.
It was a stupid rock. We thought it would be funny. I don't think it was funny. I regret it. Whatever, no regrets. No regrets.
That rock didn't know what was coming. There was a lot of humping going on. I'll take it down now. See, I can't even.
I'll be outside. You come find me and talk to me about it.
You know what's funny is I actually took down I had that tech site that failed, so I got recharged for it. And
that's the worst, right? You forget about something and it hits you. Fuck.
So God damn it. It was like the one email I don't ever use, so I went and pulled that down today. But yeah, it's new beginnings, man. I mean, the podcast has been since November, and we're about ready to build I am building our new WordPress site because I'm sick and tired of, I love you, Libsyn, but holy cow, man, give me a web interface. Like, I have the most basic one. So if you go to perchofbirds.com right now, what you basically see is the Libsyn interface, which is as basic as it comes. Live New Mexico knocks our socks off with its content for sure, and then the design. So I actually picked up a WordPress site, and I'm starting to work on that now. So expect us to have a lot more cross-sharing, a lot of cross-posting with Live New Mexico, and just anybody we have on this cast. We always try to help people pursuing greatness because you're ramping it up, man. So I kind of derailed it, but you're going to start doing vlogs, you're going to start doing YouTube, and then
I got plans, man. This summer,
it's
a lot of stuff's coming. We got a lot of trips planned. I'm still going on them now. I go almost every Friday.
I'm going to try to get on that hunt with you, and then we got to do something big. I'd like to do the catwalks or something in the Gilas, man. The first national forest in the U.S., man. Got to do it.
Backpacking trips, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
Aldo Leopold's forest out there, man. That guy changed the world when it comes to national forests. But we'll get out there and we'll do a backpacking trip, and we'll go explore and put some of the video, some footage, some pictures, some jokes. Probably, I'm sure one of us is going to fall in some water or something like that. I'm sure. Last backpacking trip, I was up to my waist in snow, falling over. It was good times.
I mean, until the beer runs out, it's always a good time.
Yeah. The water was a problem. The lack of planning. Some of my best trips involve no planning.
Exactly. I was going to say that brings all the adventure to it. Blood, hunger,
confusion.
I hated what
are
those little sausages called?
Vienna sausages.
Vienna sausages. We couldn't say Rome or Italy or whatever. That's what we were talking about was Vienna. That's where the guys with the boats are. Anyways, I didn't like Vienna sausages until I went hiking with you. Same with the black coffee. It was like a thing. You get that hungry, you will eat fucking anything. Spam, you will eat. Well, there was a video where I ate some bear shit, but I didn't actually eat it. I just tried it, and I wasn't that hungry.
For
that was
whatever
just
reason, disgusting fucking guy sticking bear shit.
We
don't even know if it was bear shit. It could have been people shit.
How about we not imagine it being?
I'm pretty sure that my camera was on burst mode taking photos this entire time.
That's cool. It'll make some really interesting pictures.
It wasn't
the whole 3 inches we moved our heads from.
It wasn't filming. It was literally taking pictures the whole time.
That's cool. Let it burst,
it says 5,969 pictures got taken.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't even see the screen.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on again, and I know that everybody enjoys hearing your stories, and I definitely want you to kind of come up with more narration, and I think that every time that we do one of these, we can...
I will be out making stories happen. I am out every time looking for something to talk about, right? I go out to find a story.
So
I
why don't we do
want
this?
to find a cliff. I want to find a mine. I want to find a bear so I can talk about it.
So why don't we try to do our next cast? I'll make sure to bring the gear, not this stuff, but we'll bring something a little different.
Do it outside?
Yeah,
let's do it on my property.
Let's do it on a hike.
Let's have a
Okay.
campfire. Let's do
Okay.
this summer when it gets a little warmer, we can do a campfire out
I'm
there.
game.
Yeah, you can see the stars and everything. You can see the city. You see the lights from the city. Then you can also see all the damn
Because that's
stars.
halfway between Los Lunas and Albuquerque, which would be one of the more populated.
No, my property is not to be disclosed on the podcast.
I'm
You
just
will
saying-
not know where it is.
That's where the Manzanos are. It's somewhere there in that area. It
No,
doesn't
it's
matter.
not. My
No.
property's in Texas.
There's no way to
My
even.
property's in Texas.
Doesn't even have a fence. What the
All
hell?
right? I don't want people to know where my
It has rocks.
That's my fortress of solitude.
Anyways, it's a gorgeous piece of land. I mean, and the fact that it's yours, bro, that's all that matters.
I got plans. I want to put a little concrete water hole on my property so like I can attract more wildlife to it or
right.
whatever. You
Okay.
know?
So
So I
one
want
of
to
those still cameras.
not a concrete, like ugly concrete thing. I want to build it into the landscape so
Okay.
it looks like it's natural, but I want to have water up there.
Right.
Which in some ways affects the wildlife that they wouldn't be getting water, but in other ways, people are probably half the reason.
Well,
that
hell,
the
we haven't
water-
had any moisture
Right.
since October, bro. It's ridiculous. I don't want things just to starve. You can't go hunting because everything's dead. Well, we'd let y'all go hunting, but see, we don't got any damn water. They're all dead. See, you can shoot at them.
I mean, there's springs and stuff out there. I just want to bring them closer to my property, so I can, you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I remember there has been a time, we won't explain the specifics, where we had been able to see the results of one of those motion capture cameras over a watering hole out there in the Manzanos, and there was black bears that kept
oh,
getting
dude, there's
in and out of
black
the water.
bears. There was
And
hawks
that guy
on
came
it.
back like every night, man.
Yeah.
and was taken. And then there was birds. There's, but it was really cool to see that, and I really think that there's more to come, and I think that it's going to be really cool to see you document that. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for coming on the podcast again, man.
You're welcome,
With your
man.
super camera taking
I
pictures
love
of
being
it.
on that. I like explaining and sharing my stories. You know,
No, you're a smart cat, bro. I wouldn't bring on people that I didn't feel were worthy of such articulation, and you're still pursuing greatness, man. Your blog's picking up speed, man. I really like to see the results of what you're doing. I think it's cool to see somebody actually become a social media, centerpiece, I guess, for, I don't know anybody else that's doing like a New Mexico thing and trying to pursue it in the way that you are, because it's consistency. I know that there are other blogs and there's other YouTube channels that I've seen, but a lot of them are very...
there's nobody that's me. There's nobody else
right,
like me.
but then they're also doing just very, very like they'll do like one hike to a place, and that's like a whole thing. You know, I like to see somebody go out and check out areas that are not as known, and just purely because it's that much easier for me to just cruise from my house to an area like that, you know, and check that out rather than to go 3 hours south to be able to check out, you know, the bigger landmarks.
I don't want to drag this on, like keep going and going and going, but you know, I have this thought that a lot of people see nature as something that's out there. You got to drive to it, right? You walk outside and you're still in nature. We just built our houses in it. There's nature all around you. You can go right down the road and find this corner lot that nobody lives in where some trees grow up, and you can find shit back there, right? You can find nature wherever you go. You might think you live in the city, but even then, you know, there's hawks in New York that fly around and kill pigeons.
Right.
There's nature everywhere you go.
Right. Well, there's coyotes in L.A. It's still a big
Right.
issue, they say.
Yep.
You know, up in the foothills. Rogan's always talking about it, killing his chickens too.
And I will be back on here to tell you guys more stories about the nature I find wherever I go.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Check out his site, livenewmexico.com. Check out his Facebook, which would be Facebook.com.
LiveNewMexico.com.
Is it Live New? Is it? Did I get it right?
I don't know.
Is your website's
Look
Live New
up
Mexico?
Live New Mexico on Facebook and you'll find it, right?
Yeah. And then either way, and then if you can also go to livenewmexico.com
And find my Facebook
and find his
site.
Facebook. Yeah, so either way.
Yeah.
But you know, pick up his blogs. Take a read. Click on an ad. That would really help the gentleman out here.
If you don't know how to use a computer to find my site, you probably shouldn't be listening to podcasts.
You probably shouldn't be listening. How are you listening to a podcast? What is it being
They're
broadcast?
probably reading it on a book.
In your mind, is this actually 30,000 years into the future, and the radio waves have finally hit galaxies? And you can check out everything that A Perch of Birds is doing at facebook.com/APOB media. Please give us a review on iTunes. Oh my God, I swear to you, I will send you a shirt. If you can send me a picture of you taking a review of A Perch of Birds, you send that picture to me on my Facebook profile. Oh yeah. I want a review on iTunes. Send it to me, and I will absolutely send you a shirt. I'm only going to do this for 5 people because I don't have $1 million, but I don't have one. So if that works, then I'll have 5 reviews, and not have zero. So,
I'd like
but
to
it really
say
helps us out.
Thanks to our sponsor, BP Camera, for being the beepiest camera ever.
And if you're looking for a very beepy camera, check out the Go Beep. It's not the GoPro, it's the Go Beep.
Beep, beep.
All right, man. Thanks for
Later.
coming out. Later, buddy.